handle the truth.
Good evening. I apologize for the sound delay. But welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Thursday Night Get Right. This is Thomas Freeme once again in the house, as we are every Thursday night at 8 p.m. here on YouTube, on TikTok, everywhere. We everywhere, man. So Demetrius will not be with us tonight. He's at a function with Michigan Liberation. You know, it's election time, so he's up there with his group. They're trying to decide on who they're going to nominate, who they're going to stand behind. So Demetrius is back up in Michigan. He was here last week. We hung out for a little bit, got to shoot a little show, which I got to post. I got a lot of stuff to do, but we're going to cover some of that tonight. But before we get into that, let me say, man, rest in peace to those 5 individuals, man. Rest in peace. God bless you guys' soul, man. As foolish as it was, man, we're gonna get into some of this talk tonight, man, on the value of life, and how we tempt God, we tempt life, So I'll share some of my experiences as well, and just what has gave me, a new appreciation for life, because I was out there doing crazy things, man. I was risking my life almost every night. Every night that I was going out, I was putting my life on the line just because of the mindset that I was in as a child, growing up or whatnot. But, man, oh man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Me doing time in solitary confinement, being in pitch blackness, for limited times. It's a hard thing, man. It's really, really a hard thing to deal with and to think. I know that the news is coming out saying that the ship imploded. I don't know. They like to, of course, they're not going to come out on the news, I wouldn't think, and tell the people, that they suffered a horrible, horrible, tragic death, But I don't think that it imploded. It could have, who knows, but the thing of it is, man, is crazy. I couldn't even get in a tube like that. There's no way I could even get in a tube like that with 5 people going to the bottom of the ocean, let alone pay $250,000 for it. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And these are some of the things that we do, and to just kind of put it in perspective, it's these instances that we get into in life where afterwards we sit back and we look and we're like, that probably wasn't such a good idea. That probably wasn't such a good idea, man. And we're sitting here now, though you got these 5 individuals sitting on the bottom of the ocean and the world is kind of laughing at them, and myself included, and I made a couple TikToks about it because it's hard for me to find empathy for a situation that people put themselves in knowingly. Like what in your right mind would make you do something like this? To get in a ship that's, one, not regulated, never been regulated. Then, just a little bit of research into the guy, you find out that he's had a serious debt issue. People were suing him, things of that nature. Then you look at the thing, and it's controlled by a joystick, a controller which I would be fine with. I would control it with that, but it's just the whole thing. And then it's bolted from the outside, like, I don't know, I would really have second guess. And then when you're signing the agreement, it's talking about death and more death. And I would probably have second thoughts about that, man. But these are the instances that we get into. So it's hard for me to find empathy in a situation like that. If I was to find empathy, it's for the kid, man. Always for the kid, because they don't know. And here you got this kid that was just doing something with his dad. That's how I looked at it. You got this kid that's going off to just do something with his dad. Him and his dad's going off to, man, we're going on a trip. We're going to see the Titanic, me and my dad. Mm. And to think, just to put things into perspective, just imagine them that it didn't implode. And you got these 5 individuals sitting in that small little tube, pitch blackness, freezing cold, eerily quiet, can't see nothing. And you know that you're down there, like nobody can get you. That will drive people instantly insane, knowing that your oxygen is limited. That will drive people instantly insane. It's hard telling what happened in there. I mean, somebody might have killed each other. Who knows, man? Who knows? That's just a situation I wouldn't even, and that's how my mind works. Like before I even get into that tube, this is why people don't like to be around me, because I take the fun out of everything. I'm gonna look at that and say, and go through all of that. What happens if we get down there and we can't get back up? What happens then? No, sir. Well, I tell you, that's what prison has done to me. Prison has made me think about these things. Prison has made me think about these things, Chris. I'm telling you. I think about all that stuff now because I value life. I've had my life taken away from me. I've had my life put in a fashion to where is out of my control completely. So that's exploration. Well, I mean, okay, and I get that. Go explore, and that's what some humans are here for, is to go explore, and we wouldn't be where we're at without exploring. That's just me. I don't know if I would call that exploration though. First in my opinion, you're going to a hollow ground. You're going to a graveyard. And not only are you going to a graveyard, but you're going to a place that like was murdered. You know what I mean? There was a lot of chaos and toxicity and a lot of bad spirits, a lot of angry spirits in that area. Like I'm gonna be honest with you. When I flew to Switzerland, and on the little map as you're going, they got the little TV on the seat. As you're flying, you can see where you're at and track the progress and all that stuff. And it shows on the map where the Titanic is at. And as we flew over it, I'm going to tell you, it affected me. I'm looking at the water. I'm looking down at the water. And if I fly back over there, I'm going to do the same again because of this instance. And who knows how this instance is going to affect my life. You know what I mean? Because it's already making me think, like I'm saying, if I do fly back over there, it's going to be on my brain. I'm going to look out the window. I'm going to say, man, that's them people's down there, So that to me, that's the thing is I'm going to be looking over that. And the first time when I flew, it gave me chills because I knew that was a spot. That's a bad spot on Earth, man. That's a bad spot on Earth. Same with New York now. 9/11. It's a bad spot on Earth. A lot of people died tragically in one place. That just in my opinion, that really affects the spiritual world. You know what I mean? But the value of life. The value of life. I saw people practically lose their life over stepping in the wrong section, stepping in the wrong line, sitting in the wrong seat. I've seen this with my own eyes. And this is what has made me value my life, to really, really think in every aspect as to how this can affect my life. Stop assuming. I've had talks with my family. I've had talks with people close to me how dangerous assumptions are and how much we assume. Just because we left from walking around this corner, we assume that danger is not around the corner. And we'll walk around this corner blind and everything will be different. So it's just prison has ingrained in me to look before I leap. And that's in every aspect. It's think before you do. I'm heavily into this. This is what I'm trying to teach into the children. Is our biggest things that we do is we do, and then we think about what we do. How many times have we done it? How many times have we been sitting in the county jail like, man, I can't believe I did that stupid junk there, man. What in the heck was wrong with me? What would make me do something like that? Because now we're not in our emotions. We're sitting in our cell and we got time to think. And in that time, we're sitting there processing everything that comes. Now you got to go to court. It's going to cost money. You're going to be on probation. You may even go to prison. All because you didn't think to begin with. And look at this family, man. Look at what this family's going through now. I mean, you may have some people that are happy. You may have some people that are happy. I mean, billionaires died. So there are people that are happy right now. I guarantee it. But at the end of the day, like I say, these people, I guarantee any one of them on that submarine would have gave every penny that they had to get out of the situation that they were in. There's no question. And that's when being a billionaire don't matter. You're stuck in a sub on the bottom of nobody can get you. All those billions of dollars, all that work. Let me tell you, to make $1 billion, I don't even know what he did. But to make $1 billion, I know that takes a lot of work. I know that took a lot of life's work to make that $1 billion gone in an instant. For what? For what? And some people, it just begs the question as to what is life really about? What's the value of life? What is life about? What's the meaning of life? For me, being in a cell for the length of time that I have, and not only in a physical cell, but just in a mental cell, looking at everything in such a negative light, seeing life from dark glasses, you know what I mean? Just seeing darkness everywhere and being part of it and feeling hopeless. And I've been in that prison, and I don't think any of us like being in that state, but we just learn to deal with it. We succumb to it, and we just learn to deal with it. And some people just get tired of dealing with it, and some don't. But I think at the end of the day, we're spiritual beings. I believe that we're spiritual beings. I believe that our physical bodies are just vehicles. It's just a material protection that protects the soul. Everything works around the brain. The brain and the brain stem, and everything is to protect that and operate to keep the brain and the brain stem alive. And that's where the spirit dwells at. That's where consciousness dwells, is in that whole function right there. And I believe that energy is just ongoing. And I believe it just comes and goes, and it just gathers experience, gathers knowledge, infinite knowledge from different situations in life where this energy field is just gaining knowledge and wisdom from all kinds of different perspectives. And I think that's what, when we see that babies come in with cancer, and we just see all of the dark atrocity of life, and we say, how can there be a God when all of this stuff goes on? Well, it's not God doing that. It's God's created it. He created everything in the essence of it. But at the end of the day, he also created us to have conscious thought. And within that conscious thought, he created good and bad so that we had conscious thought in order to know the difference and make a choice. Because at the end of the day, it's his dedication. He built us. He put us here to remain loyal to him. Maybe it's a test to him. Maybe he wants to see if how loyal his creations will be. So who really knows? It's just all what you feel deep inside. It's all what you feel deep inside, and it's all what you feel is right or wrong. Truly and deeply right or wrong. And it's remaining within your conscious thought. Remaining within your conscious thought and analyzing everything. And just like Socrates says, question everything. That means your thoughts. That means your thoughts. You question everything. And it drives people crazy. I just had a conversation, with a partner of mine. And it's like I told him, man, listen, I get it, man. I'm a hard cat to deal with. I'm a hard cat to deal with, but life has made me that way. And I feel protected in that now. I feel secure in knowing that I can question everything because I understand intent. I understand manipulation. I understand, maliciousness. I see it all day, every day. And if I'm not questioning it, how do I know that I'm not allowing it around me? And I've had it around me my whole life, and I know what it brings. I was with a good friend of mine who is watching the show tonight, Pastor Jan. We were in front of some of Pasco County's elites yesterday. And that's like I let them know. One thing about the reformed returning citizen, and I emphasize the word reformed, right? Because a reformed returning citizen, in my opinion, is probably one of the most thoughtful persons on the planet, right? Because in order to truly reform from our addictions, from our our extreme radical insecurities that we have about ourselves, that society has made us think about ourselves, in order to overcome these things in a harsh environment like prison, you have to be very, very thoughtful. You have to think. Think. And prison awards you that. And while you have these socialites who think that these people that are coming out of prison are unintelligent, little do they know that these are some of the most intelligent people probably on the planet. If you've spent enough time in prison thinking, because you have some individuals that spend 20 or 30 years just thinking, processing everything, because there's nothing else to do. And the information that is coming in is so limited, you can actually have the time to process every little word that you're taking in. And that does something to your brain, and your brain craves that type of knowledge. That is what your brain craves, is knowledge. Whether you know it or not, when you ask yourself a question, your brain will always answer that question, no matter what the question is. Try it right now. Just ask yourself in your brain any question. Your brain is going to give you an answer. It's just whether that brain has the information in it to give you a proper answer or not. And if it doesn't, the brain is going to assume, because the brain is very narcissistic. It's very egoic. It wants to know everything, and it thinks that it knows everything. And if we, as a conscious being, that's the difference between our physical brain, our material brain, and our conscious brain, is the consciousness is the light. The consciousness is the beacon of light that is constantly letting that brain know you're coming here, stay here, focus here, stay here. And if that beacon isn't there, if that beacon was never even placed there, that brain will go amok and it'll go wherever it wants to go. Until finally that human experience, that body gets tired of it and finally, hopefully, tries to wrap the brain up. But again, there has to be a beacon of light that comes in there somewhere, whatever that beacon of light is. But if that beacon of light don't come in, this is how you get these 50, 60, 70-year-old people that are running around like they're 18 years old. You see it all over the place. Is where you see these grown men, acting still like they're 17, 18 years old. I know that was me for the longest. And I still have childlike ways because a lot of my childhood was robbed from me. So I still have a lot of childness in me. But I'll tell you, the world does not like childness, man. They reject it because they're so envious of it. So when they see somebody that's in a childlike state, they want to mock it. They want to ostracize it. They just want to tear it down, especially if it's coming from a man. Look how they treat a man if a man shows any kind of childness. But, speaking on what I was speaking on before, Pastor Jen and I, we were in front of some of Pasco County's elites. And the thing about the reformed returning citizen is we have expelled all corruption out of us. We have expelled corruption out of us. Our life has been corrupt. We've been the corrupt individual. We've had a taste of the corruption. And we know the results of what that corruption brings. And that thoughtfulness and that self-reflection has expelled all of that corruption out of us. And a reformed returning citizen that's coming out of incarceration will do everything he can possibly do, that he knows how to do, to make sure that corruptness does not get back in him. It's always there. I always have a criminal mindset. I always have a criminal brain. I see criminal everywhere. But I have consciousness enough to know now what that brings. And thankful for the 48 Laws of Power, and Robert Greene, I have learned how to harness these dark forces that are inside of me and use them for good. Use them for good. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining on TikTok. Thank you for joining on YouTube. Again, I apologize. Demetrius right now is at an electoral function up in Michigan. He made it back to Michigan. He was down here in Florida for a week, again, for training. But hopefully Michigan Liberation and Coming Home Coalition will soon be uniting in some fashion. Coming Home Coalition has a lot of stuff going on. So to my listeners, I apologize for the delay in uploads. Again, I know you guys, I sound like a broken record when I say this, but it's just, it is, man. I don't work for a nonprofit. Coming Home Coalition is my nonprofit that I am founding and trying to build and get funded. I don't work for one. I am one. I am the nonprofit. And thank you to my co-founder, Miss Yvette Harvey, who slaves herself the way that she does, for believing in me and my cause, my message, and knowing who I am as a person. And that's who Coming Home Coalition is exactly that. I want Coming Home Coalition to be an extension of me, because as I've been saying over and over and over again, I'm a firm believer in the root. The Bible speaks on the root. Every religious text speaks on the root. And it's scientifically proven that the root is where the spawn of all life begins, from the root. So if we put that in contextual form, thoughtful form, and think of our thoughts as the seed, as the root to all being, because when you look around and everything that you touch, everything that you see, everything, this whole internet, the cameras, everything came from somebody's thought. Somebody had to think it to bring it into existence. So it's knowing that the thought is the seed. So going into the reformed returning citizen and the corruption, it's understanding that thought has to be pure. We'll get negative thoughts, sure, but there's that beacon right there sitting over top. Bam, slapping it down. No. Pure thoughts, good thoughts. And this is why I don't want temptation around me. This is why I don't want negative people around me who's constantly groping, dragging, got negative things to say, pessimistic, doom and gloom, because that is a constant battle to try to remain positive within me. Sure, it's a good test to have these people around you, but like these individuals on the submarine have learned, you don't test life repeatedly. Don't tempt. Don't tempt. You could tempt every once in a while to understand what it's like so that you learn. But once you learn, any temptation past that is now kind of like mocking. You're mocking life. You're tempting life. So yeah, absolutely. Much love for Yvette, man. Yvette, bless her heart, man. She does a lot. So it's understanding, man, when it comes all down to it, the value of life. How much is your life really, really worth? How much is your life worth? How much is your life worth? For me, having mine stripped from me and having to fight it back, building what I'm building the human being that I've become, having pride in the fact that I built this on my own. This is my knowledge. I know my knowledge. My knowledge is my experience. No one can tell me any different. And I will sit on any stage with any individual and debate my knowledge because my knowledge is my experience, right? So we're living in a world where people really don't understand the difference between knowledge and experience. And they think because they pick up a book, right, that they know something that they've experienced, and they'll actually even they'll make that into their experience. This goes into where I get into, these prison people where they come home from prison and they start these YouTube channels about how violent they were in prison and how bad they were. And it's just all a facade. Just because you see something and you mold it into your experience it's not true experience. And I'm proud in the fact to know that mine is true experience and nobody could tell me no different. And that is where we as human beings need to get back into is questioning everything. Question your knowledge. I had to question my knowledge. And when I questioned my knowledge, I came to find out that it wasn't my knowledge. It was my parents' knowledge. It was my brother's knowledge. It was friends that I had around me. It was their knowledge. It was my teacher's knowledge. None of it was my knowledge. I got that from questioning myself. I had to question myself because I did not like where my life was at. I didn't like the decisions I was making. So I had to question my thought process. At the end of the day, I got to question my thought process because I knew that I put myself in these certain situations. I can blame this person all that I want. And true enough, that person may have done some atrocious things that deserve to be blamed for. But at the end of the day, I have to tell myself, but you really, really knew, Thomas. Thomas, now come on, man. You knew because you told yourself not to do it. You told yourself that this person was going to do this. You knew it, but yet you still chose. And now what it is you're just mad that that person did what you knew that they were going to do. That's what it is, really, is that you're just mad. So it was just understanding these things in life. All these occurrences that happened to me were my own doing. And I wanted it to stop. And I just became a thinker before a doer. And that really rubs a lot of people the wrong way. Because I tell you what, it would have rubbed these people, these billionaires, the wrong way. They would have came to me and asked me, hey, Thomas, free me. Before we go on this submarine, man, we want to come on your show. We want to come on your podcast. And we just want to ask you, do you think we should do it? And I'm going to tell them, no, I don't think you should do it. One, it's a game controller that runs it. And two, you can't see anything. It's pitch black. You're not going to be able to see nothing. You're going to be looking at everything on a TV. And for $250,000, I'll build you a state-of-the-art VR system where you would think that you were inside of the Titanic. So, I mean, no, I don't think that you should do it. Would they have listened to me? Probably not. Probably not. But I tell you what, they would have been down in that sub. I guarantee they were down in that sub saying in their heads they should have listened to somebody. Man, I should have listened to my wife. My wife told me not to come on this dang thing, man. My wife told me I was stupid. My wife said I was silly. Sometimes we got to listen to these women too, man. Rest in peace, human beings. I pray for you. And let this be a lesson, man. Leave that Titanic stuff alone, man. Leave them people alone down there. Leave them people alone, man. That's not a place. That's why that place is on the bottom. That's why it's on the bottom of the ocean. That's why it's on the bottom of the ocean, man. Leave them people alone. Leave the Titanic alone. Leave them 9/11 people alone. Leave all these people alone. And just start worrying about how to be a better person. Just do that, man. Do that. Learn how to stop teasing addiction and homeless people. And learn how to start helping these people. Learn how to start finding these small nonprofits out here that are really out here trying to do things and learn how to help them. Learn how to love people. Learn how to get your family right. Learn how to run your house. Learn how to do these things, man. Learn yourself. The hell you want to go see the Titanic for? I just don't get it, man. But rest in peace, good souls. Rest in peace, man. All jokes aside, I joke about it, but I know my heart. And at the end of the day, my heart hurts for humanity in that aspect that we've been duped in so much that you would want to pay $250,000 to put yourself in a tube and go to the bottom. Do you know how many people $250,000 would feed? This is what hurts my heart. This is what hurts my heart, man. It hurts my heart that we have come to a point in time where status rules over our lives. Where our status is more important than anything else in our lives. We'll die for our status. We'll kill for our status. People will kill because they feel like their status was disrespected or hurt in some aspect. Because that is the society that we've built here in America. That status matters. Not your family, not anything else, but who you are and your title. This is why we see people walking around giving out their titles everywhere they go. This is all they want to do, is give out their titles. They lead with their titles because in their minds, these human beings have trained themselves that their titles is what makes them. That without this title that they're throwing out there, they wouldn't be anybody. They would just be this name because they don't find value in their own name. Yeah, people try too hard. You don't even have to try. What are you trying for? That's what I'm saying. Go back to your thought process and question everything. Question everything. If you're sitting here and you're spending 3 hours a day combing your hair to the side because you got to get every last little strand of your hair to its perfect degree, right? And I know there's people out there that do that, man. You got to stop and ask yourself, just look at yourself in the mirror and ask, why am I doing this? Why am I spending so much time on my hair? Why? Who am I trying to impress? And why am I trying to impress this person? What is it about me that is so insufficient that I got to impress somebody else to make myself feel good? Because you don't have to do that. And if you feel like you have to do that, whether it's your boss or anybody at work, or again, this is what this corporate life does to you. Get away from that stuff. Get away from that stuff. Go find you something else. If you got to quit chasing the money, stop thinking you got to have BMWs and big houses and all this stuff and the big boats and all this stuff that is keeping you in the prison that you're in. That's the status. And I know people are looking at me crazy, twisting their head crazy, because you're not going to get rid of that stuff. You're going to keep chasing it. But it's what comes with that. The lies, the deceit, the toxicity, man. And then all of the time that you spend away from your family to get those things, because those things don't come cheap. Those things don't come cheap. If you're driving a Jaguar or a BMW, if you got you a 60-foot yacht, a 4,000 square foot home, you are putting a lot of hours into a lot of work. And that work is taking you away from your family. This is why we have the problems that we have. You have individuals that would rather spend $250,000 for a 3-hour trip to the bottom of the ocean than go find a small nonprofit in their town, their area, that's really putting in work, that needs help, and say, here goes a $250,000. Man, do you know what a $250,000 donation to Coming Home Coalition would do? That would put programs up. That would put people to work. That would help people. That would save lives. It's our priorities, America. It's our priorities, our morals and our priorities. And everybody has a right to do what they want, of course. Nobody's saying anything of that nature. All I'm saying is just question everything. Question yourself. Is this the right choice? Is this the best choice? And when you start questioning these things, you'll start to find that a lot of the things that you do is really, really silly. You do a lot of silly things that cost money, that waste money, but you do it because we get caught up in the moment. And I'm guilty of this, man. I don't separate myself from this stuff. I do it all the time. I'm bad with my money. Lord knows I'm bad with my money, man. I'm such an emotional spender, man. It's ridiculous. I can't hold on to my money. So I have to do things to make sure that I don't have cash on me, because if I have cash on me, it's gone. I'll just spend it. So it's making sure that I'm doing the things to keep myself in line. Again, that beacon of light is up over me. You know? And this is just what we have to do. You know, we have to question everything, know our triggers, know our faults, and work within that so that our lives can change. Because at the end of the day, man, just take a look at what's going on. There's nobody in America that can't tell me that every day that you're out driving around, you're not seeing the problem in your face. 20 years ago, you didn't see the problem in your face like you do now. You see it everywhere you go. What is that telling you? Eventually, these people are going to be at your door. They're going to be at your door. This has touched everybody in one way or another. Mass incarceration, mass addiction. Either your child has been addicted or incarcerated here in America. That is where we're at. That is the reality of where we're at. And meanwhile, you have billionaires that are spending $250,000 to go to the bottom of the ocean in a rickety sub. This is where we're at, people. This is where we're at, and it's just this is why I have my podcast. This is why I have my foundation, because at the end of the day, I'm conscious to the fact that there are bigger things going on in life than just me. I'm looking around, people. I'm seeing what's going on. I'm seeing what's going on with life. Everything that went on with COVID and everything that's going on with Trump and the people around the world and the animals and the weather and just life in itself, man. Like, there's serious stuff going on. And at the end of the day, you got to take a step back and ask yourself, do I believe in God? Do I believe in God? Is this the time for me to really start believing in God? Because God is showing me a lot of ugly. He's showing it to me for a reason. He's showing you this because he's testing you to see where your heart lies at, where your thought process lies at. We're being tested every day in every way. Every way. That's why I'm conscious. Stay away from the distractions, people. Spot the distractions. Understand these people are trying to keep you distracted, to keep us asleep, to keep us from thinking, to keep us from our consciousness, so that we'll just continue to work like mindless slaves, pay these taxes like mindless people, and while what continues. So with that, believe everybody, man. I appreciate all of the likes, all of the subscribes that I've gotten, man. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the attention. For me, that means the world, because, you guys are sacrificing your life, your time to hear my message, to come together and hopefully unite our communities, man, and get a grip on our communities. So with that, again, I say rest in peace to the souls of Titan. I can't help it. I just have to say it, man. I just have to say it. I've been seeing it all over. I love it. Titanic 2, Rich People 0. What can I say? Leave them people alone, man. With that, I'm out. I love you guys. Stay safe, man. Continue to be your best self.